Hello there, very good evening and a warm welcome to our program. Condominiums, an interesting area, convenient, stylish, prime, location, all of this brings an important aspect. But what happens when there is something that strikes? Where do we go to? How does the legal framework work in all these areas? Joining us today is an expert to speak educate us in this frame of title of condominium law, and we're very honored to have with us attorney at law Senaka Desera joining us on the show to speak on a very subjective and an interesting topic. Good evening, Senaka. Good to have you with us on the show. Condominium law, fantastic. How do you see it working here in Sri Lanka so far?
Thank you for the invitation. Well, condominium law is, I think, now coming into its maturity stage in Sri Lanka. We have seen a lot of buildings coming up now. But I should say not everybody who is properly educated on the legal system. So the developers are, because they are into a lot of issues when they start up, but it's certainly not the ultimate purchaser. So when you look at this industry, it's hovering around three types of people. One is the people who are buying, one is the people who are putting up these buildings, and you have a third sector, I would say, the financier, the bank. So when it comes to the developer and the bank, they are quite well versed with what is happening. But when it comes to the purchaser, it's not the case.
They just sign the paper and sign the document.
Yes. So now if you go and get a credit card, you would just sign the paper and you come back home and look at the card.
I think even condominiums have come to that level now where you can just sign and walk in. But Senaka, let's start with the basics. Now, when it comes to an apartment, I know the location is important, windows, what angles, how does the entry and the exit, all of this work. How important is it that we understand the basic laws of an apartment?
Yeah, now the basic laws of apartment basically will be the duty of the developer. So the developer will come up with a plan, submit it to the local authority, get approval, submit it to the condominium management authority, get approval and sell it. So all what you were describing, where the windows are, the layout, all that will all be primarily done by the developer, and he will put it up for sale. And people who think that building is good, it's in a good location, good spacious area, they will come and purchase.
Now the problem strikes when there is an issue pertaining, let's say one window blocking the other person's window where people don't realize, or one floor to the other floor could have its instances and issues. Now in a situation like that, where do people come to first? Whom should they report to? How far can this go?
Yeah, now just backtracking to your question, the first thing is the building plan itself will have certain restrictions on how these windows can be placed. So once a primary plan is approved, generally the issue of objecting to a window or not will not arise, because even when it comes to the purchaser, he has inspected the premises and only purchased it. The question arises when once it is done and a plan is approved where there are changes. So sometimes you find changes in the building which are not authorized.
Correct.
So then the issue is, where do you go to?
How do we know whether this is correct? I know the developer has the responsibility of doing that, and it's not the case of the client to know where this is. In instances we have seen people, I mean, it's a sin where they bring the architects and the engineers to check and see, okay, is this fair? But then you're spending a big amount of money and you wouldn't know what or where you're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely correct. So what you see is sometimes when you go to buy a brochure and they will not show you the condominium plan.
Or they might show you a studio apartment.
Yeah, or they will show you a studio apartment.
Yeah.
But it is important, if you are going to buy an apartment, first thing I think is you must request for that condominium plan. You get two types of plans. Firstly, they will have a provisional plan, which is even before the building comes up, they'll have a rough plan. It's called a provisional condominium plan. Or they will have the final plan, which is called a condominium plan. Now, if you take that, it has all the plans of all the apartments in that building. So you have a very good idea of what it is.
Are we allowed to ask this?
You can allow, you're allowed to
We're
ask
allowed
for that.
to ask
but
this.
it's generally not shown.
Okay.
Generally not shown. But you can ask, and the developer will not be hesitant to give it to you because they already have it. And then the next thing is you must ask, okay, where is your apartment? Because a layman will not understand in that maze what unit is
Correct.
theirs.
Yeah.
Then you must see what is your apartment, see whether you are satisfied with what is there on the plan. Because what is there on the brochure is immaterial.
Yeah, it's sad. Sometimes people will only look at where is my garage going to be or my parking lot going to be located, and then it won't be the point of how many stairs do I have to climb. It won't be any of those concerns, but it will be directly on looking pretty, let's go for it.
Yeah, now that's a good point you brought out, the car park. Now, most of the time you are allocated a car park, and we have clients coming to us with series of issues because the older buildings and maybe the good buildings, which are the more expensive apartments, you are allocated a car park. But the cheaper you go, there is no allocation of a car park. So it is a common car park for everybody legally. But the developer gives an allocation to you when you purchase. But that is not a legal sort of allocation. So problems crop up when everybody starts occupying the building and it's full up.
Okay.
So then this
So
battle was going on.
That could be like a family could have two cars trying to park in two different lots.
Yes. So what happens is sometimes in your when you purchase apartment, you are only allocated one slot. But since the building is vacant, you have the benefit of parking anywhere, and you continue to park somewhere else which is not belonging to you, and you have no problem till everybody starts buying in, and then the car park issue comes about.
But that's unfair, isn't it? Because you're at a discussion point and the developer promises you, saying you are given a parking lot and etc. But based on your experience, you're telling me that there are several
Yes.
issues related
So
to this.
that is what I say, like if it's a Christian, you say you have to see read the Bible. So the Bible is the condominium plan. What is not on that plan, you don't get at all. So they may stand on their head and say things, but you must look at that plan. So if the condominium plan has not allocated a particular car park to your unit, well, then it's common parking for everybody. And this became an issue, and the Condominium Management Authority thereafter published a gazette and said it's first come, first serve. So it became a problem because the developers had allocated car parks, and if it's a problem, then the gazette will apply. So sometimes you may come into a building first, you will say you will want a car park near the lift. Sometimes, now these are bought sometimes by elderly people.
Correct.
So they'll want easy access to a lift, or they may want a car park where it's near their apartment. They don't want to rely on the lift either.
Correct.
So there are problems like that.
Interesting, and it's a very interesting area that we're seeing. What are the major challenges that's been raised, awareness with this condominium law that is currently taking place?
Yeah, now what is happening, I'm not talking of the very good developers. I mean, majority of the developers are good because they want to get on with a further project. But there are a handful of projects that have now gone to the dumps, I should say. And the issue is you have paid up money to these developers and they have basically not put up the structure. So you have an agreement with them for an apartment which is not there. And at the end of the day, they have mortgaged that property to a bank.
Whoa.
So if they go bust, you have no recourse at all but to go behind them for the balance money that you have paid. But sometimes those agreements don't provide for that. The agreement is drafted by a developer, so their promise is to give you an apartment. So the reverse of the, if the apartment is not given, what has to happen also should be there. So it is very important that when you go in and you are buying these apartments, that somebody knowledgeable should advise you. Better get the services of a lawyer, because some of these things a layman will not understand. So I have had a situation where some clients came to me, they have paid money, the developer has mortgaged the property to a bank, and he went broke, and the bank executed parate and auctioned the property.
Whoa.
So ultimately you don't have your money, you don't have apartment, neither do you have the land, or
You've lost everything.
you have lost everything. So this is becoming a problem when it comes to companies that will go bad. Of course, you have the good companies, they are reputed, this will never happen with them. But you are talking of the small entities that are coming out now outside Colombo, you can see this happening, where some people think that this is a very lucrative business. But it's not easy.
And it's interesting to see how these developers, the small mushroom developers, come up in these prime locations in putting up nice structures. And you brought a very important emphasis. But I also want to touch upon is safety, something that people sometimes neglect. They prepare studio or the apartments just to make sure that a family can survive. It's nothing about ventilation or protection around its areas. If you take an incident like Dubai, we see at least on a monthly basis some apartment catching fire. But in Sri Lankan system, I'm not aware or I'm not sure whether the fire system is in place. Of course, officers also have that issue. How do you see this? How do we prepare ourselves in the event?
Yeah, there are two sides to this story. One is the developer will put up the building, and it's mandatory that he has a proper fire system. But you and I know if something happens above a 20th floor, how Sri Lanka may tackle such a fire, it's a good guess for everybody. So are we just going to rely on what those pipes that are erected to knock off this fire? But be that as it may, there is another side of this story is maintenance of the building. Now, a developer will develop the building and hand it over to the management corporation. It's called a management corporation, consists of members who are owners of the apartments. So what happens is, which is currently happening, which is why your question is important, nobody takes this management corporation seriously. They will get some retired people who are in the building, owners, and they will maintain this very shabbily. So there are two things in a management corporation. You have to contribute money. So there is for day-to-day expenses, there is a fund, and there is also a thing called a sinking fund that is there in law, which nobody is taking seriously now in this industry.
Okay.
So the sinking fund is where you keep on contributing a little bit of money for major repairs. So
aren't they, I apologize, aren't they collecting this in bulk and giving this to the sinking fund? And
no, it's not happening because the duty is cast on the owners of the apartments, and they feel, why should we spend extra? We can manage like this.
just pay him a tip money and that's
Yeah, just bare minimum. So if you see, that is why it's very important when you buy apartment, you must know your neighbors. So if they are very stingy people, your apartment is going to look like a shack in 10 years to come, and you won't be able to even sell it.
I can imagine. It's like one block is drying out clothes there, and the other
Correct.
one is maintaining it really
So there
well.
are apartments where the pool is not properly maintained, the gym is not properly maintained. Now we have issues such as COVID. They are not compliance with COVID regulations. So these are problems because this whole responsibility is given to the management corporation, who in turn is controlled by the owners. The danger to this is, in 10-15 years to come, they are not maintaining these buildings as required. As you see, Sharon, there are so many buildings along the coast.
Correct.
Very corrosive salt breeze. So if you don't paint, maintain those, it is a matter of time where structural problems are going to take place. Then what do? They all blame it on the developer.
Correct.
10 years, 20 years down the line, they say, my God, there are cracks. But it's actually not the developer's fault. It is your own fault for not maintaining your own building.
Wow.
So once that happens, it's too late. So the sinking fund is important, which is totally ignored, and daily maintenance is not done.
Senaka, now this daily maintenance fund, okay, I paid for an apartment, I bought fancy, nice, regulated fee, paying only 15, that's it. Year on year, we're going to live there, and that development or the pay has to increase
yeah,
as well.
correct.
Now, in the event of a situation like that, where people won't increase and then people won't give, okay, this is what we agreed for and that's it. So then there are issues that can involve. Have you ever come across these?
Why not? It is because, as I told you, now there is a mentality issue also. Now I had a very rich merchant who was in just off Ratnapura. He has bought an apartment in Colombo for close to 75 million rupees.
Oh.
And he deals in gems. So he came and told me one day, you know, I have bought this apartment in Sinhalese, he told me, and එතන එක්කෙනෙක් කියනවා මට මාසෙට තව 20000ක් ගෙවන්න ඕන. That means somebody there is telling him that another 20,000 a month he has to pay. Who is that man and why is he harassing me? Now that is the president on the management corporation who is there to run the building.
Right.
So you have people like this also, like very rich people who don't understand the concept of living in apartment complexes.
Right.
For example, if you are living in your house and if I am living, if I don't like to cut the grass, I will just let it be. But you can't do that there.
Correct.
So you get that. Then the other issue is being thrifty.
Yes.
So you might be penny wise now, but pound foolish in time to come. So coming back to your question, if that is the issue, and if the majority of the people feel that they shouldn't spend, then I think if you are the owner, if you are worried, you should make a complaint to the condominium management authority and say that this is not properly maintained. They have wide powers to hold an inquiry and make orders on these things.
Interesting, and it's so competitive now that we see condominiums put up everywhere. We're not discouraging you in buying a condominium. It's just that we're trying to educate you on the importance of it and see it from all aspects. So this is where you need to bring in an expert before you purchase a condominium or an apartment. I also want to speak about the environment. How important is it? Sometimes the developers, although they do their research, they can slowly undercut and then pass on the files and put up a lovely structure. And later on, there could be issues where the clients will have to be the responsible figures of whatever that has happened. How do we tackle a situation like that?
Yeah, that is also another important thing. It is, once a plan is approved, there has to be some sort of monitoring that it is built according to the plan. That this is there. But the issue is sometimes they don't build according to the plan, and then they have taken money from people. And then they allow these people to occupy on the basis, right, you have paid money, so come and occupy. So, but the ultimate issue is this building is not built according to the plan.
Correct.
So there are numerous buildings in Colombo itself. I have had personal experience where they don't have a deed.
We would love to list them out, but we're not.
So they don't have a deed. I mean, they have paid money, now they are occupying. But since the building has not got a certificate of conformity from the local authority, because it's not built according to the plan, they cannot proceed any further with regard to the condominium plan and execute deeds. So these are issues that are there. So another problem we have is sometimes the acts permit the developer to be fined. But when it comes to non-payment, there is sometimes problems when it comes to the law to recover that money from the developer. And the developer says, no, we have done it according to this. The UDS made an order saying, okay, you pay this fine. But recovery process is slow. So the UDS powers are, okay, if it's unauthorized, demolish. So that's also not a solution. That's also not a solution.
Wow, it's not an easy task of buying a condominium, but you have to be vigilant in what you do. Senak, I also want to speak about buying of condominiums at a particular stage and then after that selling it to a different party. What are the circumstances, what are the issues that you have come across in the event of selling a condominium?
Yeah. The seller has absolutely no problem. As long as he gets the money into his bank account, he's fine. As a buyer, you have to be mindful of a few things. One is, if you are going into a complex, as I told you earlier, please know your neighbors. If you have stingy guys, you won't be able to live there properly. It's not going to be a great place to live.
But Senak, in most cases, the developer won't tell you who these people are, and it's very difficult.
Yeah, when it comes to first purchasers, yes. So that is why higher the value of the apartment, you are safe. Lower the value of the apartment, you run the risk of you don't know who is going to join you and how they will behave, how much they like to pay. And it all depends on how much their contribution is to maintain that. Ultimately, it's a place where you may not like to live and you may need to exit.
Correct.
The second one is where already existing buildings, where I think you were mentioning where they want to sell.
Correct.
So the seller has no issue. When you are buying a place where it's already there are a few things you need to check. One is you have to check whether there are disputes in that building. You don't want to be part of a dispute. You have bought that place to stay. Then also the seller from whom you are buying, how much of management corporation fees and all he has left in arrears. Now when we buy a premises, we ask them how much light bills, water bills are there. Like that you get management corporation fees. So that is also important thing to see. And also whether there is litigation with regard to those condominiums. Now there are people who sell not disclosing that there is litigation there. So there are issues like that also.
I think we'll have to do a checklist before we buy a condominium. Senaka, we've come to the last 5 minutes on the show. One of the things that I've noticed overseas is how when people put up a structure, they do renovations or they scrap the building and then that would take another 50 years and then they restructure it. Now, it's a good practice, I would say, because you don't know how long a building would last and we don't know the quality of it. What if they never renovate? What if they don't do any changes? Isn't it an impact on people's lives? There is no protection, there is no safety. It could harm a lot of people.
Yes, that is what I was telling you earlier. So if it goes on like this, you will have a few buildings in Colombo which the situation you spoke of is inevitably going to happen. And particularly in the coastal areas where you get sea breeze. Now I know of situations where there are people who have come to us where their main concrete beams are cracking. That is because of the sea
And
breeze.
how long has this
10
apartment?
years,
Okay.
10 years down the
Okay,
line.
that's really not long.
Yes, it's not long. That is
Yeah.
poor maintenance. You
Okay.
can't blame the developer for that because the developer has handed it over. They may have a warranty and all that, but it doesn't last 10 years, that warranty. So then if it's a big social risk, the municipal council has powers to take whatever action against you.
Okay.
I don't know whether you remember somewhere down
I do.
Savoy, there
Near
was
Savoy,
a situation like, but
that was a
not
factory.
that was a
Yeah.
factory, not a
Yeah.
condominium.
That's right.
That's not.
But it raises awareness because a similar incident could take place. And if there are families and children, and this could be about 600 people living in
Yes.
one big block, which could scare a lot of incidents. Any final messages that you want to give our viewers in the event of buying a condominium or when it comes to keeping aware of condominium law?
Yeah, my advice is if you are going to buy a condominium, I think it's better you go and get some advice first. Are you willing to live in a, now if you take maybe my mother and father, they'll never live in apartment. So you can't get them to live in apartment. Their mindset is different. First thing is you must have a mindset to live in it. If you do decide, it's not a bad thing. It's very practical, it's security wise, it's very convenient and all that. But do get some advice, know your developer, know who your neighbors might be, and proceed with a way that you will know for sure that ultimately you won't have problems. So it's always good to get advice because layman will never understand this. And the developer will do understand what is happening. Your bank will understand when you mortgage it, but you yourself sometimes will never understand these concepts. So it's always good to get a little bit of advice and proceed forward.
Right. And if there is a legal issue, you can go and file a case first to the police?
Yes, but the thing is litigation is not the answer. So it's
Okay.
better if it's not to your liking, if somebody advises you don't touch it, leave it out. There are enough other good places to go and purchase. Because remember, you get into a bad place, it's a headache that you will never forget.
Okay. Wow, it's a very interesting subject. Thank you very much, Senaka. Real pleasure in having you on the show to speak about condominium law and educating us, especially if you are willing to buy an apartment. These are the kind of areas that you need to project yourself and also look at in. Thank you once again. We'd
Thank you,
love to
Sharon.
have you back on the show for another topic. And to all our viewers, it was a great pleasure having you with us on Law and Order. Until we see you next time, I'm Sharon Mascarenhas wishing you a very pleasant evening.